All right, so are you normal in this area?
I do. I have an Am I Normal? I feel like we haven't done this in a hot minute. And I don't know how to not make this conversation morbid. I'm sorry, but when the topic is death, it kind of is what it is. I don't know if it's because I had a kid. I don't know if it's because this is called a midlife crisis. I don't know what this is. I keep thinking about death. Like at least once a day, every day.
I think that's super healthy and motivating.
It doesn't feel healthy.
Okay.
And it doesn't feel motivating. And it's actually quite terrifying. I'd say that like the last couple of months, probably. Yeah, this is something new. And it's I don't want to call it like an obsession per se, but I'm so hyper aware. Not that it's changed how I live my life yet, but I'm so hyper aware now of death as far as what's going to happen afterwards. Is there anything afterwards? Is there nothing afterwards? And yes, I am a spiritual person. And I was raised in in the church. So the concepts of heaven and hell, like this is like, it gets deep. Like all of these things. And, and I look at my son and think of like, what will I miss out on? It's, what life will be like for him after I'm gone, what life will be like for me. It's so much. It's so much. And I don't know how to process it.
So I think two things are happening here. I think it's an age thing, and I think you got a kid now, man, and it changes everything. And it's funny that you bring this up this week because I've always told you guys, too, that I always find the most clear perspective when somebody around me passes away. Nothing will shake me up more than realizing that we are here for a blip. And it only gets worse when you have kids because you realize like, okay, I got to leave a legacy behind. Am I truly spending enough time with them? Because at some point, I'm not going to be here anymore.
Yeah, and I'm not even worried about leaving a legacy behind. I just want to leave like a kind footprint, like that while I was here, I did the best I could while I could. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. But for the most part, I tried to make the world a little bit of a better place. And I don't mean like the world as a whole. I just mean my little part of the world. Mm-hmm. But the thing with this thought of death, like it's like a pit in the bottom of my stomach. It's not like an aha thinking of how I'm moving through my daily life. It's like this terrifying, it's going to happen and there's nothing you can do about it, Cass.
So something you might not have considered because of Jimmy's age, because he's well over 1 now, right? He's like 1 and change.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, because I looked into some of this after I had my first child, it's a symptom of postpartum anxiety. And we don't think of that because when you think of postpartum depression and anxiety, it's like usually within those first few months after a kid is born.
Yeah.
So it can last past the year mark, and it may not be called postpartum anxiety, but you're not alone. And that's a pretty common theme amongst moms, and it can attach itself to moms of older kids too. So it's a remnant of anxiety. And being that you've been so open in talking about your battle with anxiety and your journey with anxiety too, it might honestly be a part of that postpartum anxiety package deal.
I mean,
that you're dealing with.
Because I have felt it, like, I upped my meds not that long ago. And like, I've noticed every day, multiple times throughout the day. And when I'm going to bed at night, I've noticed it this past week. My shoulders are in my ears and I have to constantly remind myself to relax my body and relax my shoulders. I mean, I lose count how many times throughout the day I have to, like, literally in my head be like, Kristin, relax your body, because I'm just so like tense. In the car now when I drive, like I caught myself this morning and I'm like, God, relax your body, because everything's just so tight and so tense. And I don't like it.
Yeah, the thought is kind of scary. That's for sure, Mom.
Yeah, I've had talks with my grandmother about my mortality. The older I get, certainly, and to her, that's like she's like, oh, that's extremely natural. But I don't know if it's a little different because I'll certainly change the way I look at things and the way that I do things the older I get because you realize your mortality is a real thing. But I try very hard to not think about the actual like dying,
like not being around anymore.
Yeah,
right. Because do you believe in like a heaven and a hell?
I did growing up. Like as a kid, I was 100% certain it was a heaven. The older I get, to be completely honest, I'm not as certain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I'm more hopeful now than certain that if there's a heaven or not.
I think our energy goes somewhere for sure, but I just don't believe in like us hanging out on clouds watching SportsCenter all day because that's what I'd really like to do.
This conversation makes me want to throw up.
Oh, really?
Like it's physically nauseating to me to talk about this, and it freaks me out.
I get it. It's a scary thing, the uncertainty of it all.
Yeah, that's it, the uncertainty of it.
Hey, Kevin, good morning. You're on the Bert Show. Just a little light conversation about death. What do you got?
Sorry.
What do you got?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, so my son actually turned a year old last week, and I have been obsessed about dying and death like the past 4 months as well. Like, I'll feel a pain in my heart, and I'm like, oh my God, today's the day.
Yeah. Like what? Where's this coming from? Thank you for calling. For one, I'm so sorry you're going through that, and it sucks. But I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know the feeling.
I think the stakes just feel like either consciously or subconsciously so much greater after you have a kid. How can you not think about it?
Well, if I would have known this, hindsight's 2020. No, I'm just kidding. I would never change a thing. But whew, ugh.
All you can do is live your best life, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
I know, but that's not it's hard.
I think you're doing fine. I think you're doing fine.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched, you can get more of The Bert Show on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. I don't know what any of these buttons do, by the way.